So you're here again.
I am. I'm back. And you got a podcast. Look at you. Welcome to comedy. You're now officially a comic. You have a podcast.
Well, my real show is Real Time.
I mean, that's where you go to get canceled every week.
I mean, it's just, look, that's a real show.
Yeah.
This is just us kicking it, and there's a place for that. Just like there's a place for, Sgt. Pepper, a meticulously produced, timeless album, and then a jam band.
So this is a jam band?
Yes, and some people like that better.
Yeah.
It's raw.
But people need to see all sides of you. But they need to see all sides of you. They need to see that you two are a person, right? Because you're just...
I think you mean that as a compliment, but I think people see me as a person.
No, but I don't mean it as a compliment. What I mean is...
Oh, I can tell.
Let's just be clear. No, what I mean is that people need to see all sides of you. And I think it's important because, the conversation about you is always about your political, your social point of view.
Look, we're not basically disagreeing.
No.
We're just saying that, like the figure of Janus, we are multiple sides to us.
Do you feel that people enjoy disagreeing with you? Like it's become sport?
I don't know if they do, but I know I don't. I don't like any disagreement. If I had my way in the world, if I was king, everyone would see how right I am. Which I usually do prove to be about everything, and I don't want to argue with anybody. I only do it because it's like, well, I've got to try to convince you that this is the way it is and should be, and a lot of people think that's just common sense, but the world keeps drifting further away from common sense on both sides.
Absolutely, you and I talked about that. But First of all, I want to say I would pay handsomely to have this confidence of a white man. I don't have the self-esteem. I think I'm always wrong.
Really?
But yeah, I had a conversation with you last time.
Yeah.
And we talked about how...
But you're not always wrong.
No, I'm not. But
everything you were saying was right.
We were talking about, because we don't explore nuance anymore. Everything is...
There's something that's right.
Right.
Why do you think you're wrong? You're right. I'm telling you, I talked to you.
My self-esteem
in this very spot, or that spot, or some spot in this room. And I was like, wow, yes, you really have your shit together mentally about all these issues which so many people have their head up their ass about. People just generally have their head up their ass, and they just want to bitch and bitch and bitch, and it's never about like what the actual, engaging in the actual argument. It's always about some stupid side argument. I mean, what they always, when they come after me, it's like, you're old. Yeah, but am I wrong?
Yeah, they say you're old?
Yeah, that's like the best thing. They like, oh, fine. Well, I certainly don't feel old, and I probably act younger than they do, because they're the ones who are like afraid of the world and the virus and everything. But okay, engage with the argument.
Absolutely.
Engage. Okay, I'm old, but tell me why my argument is wrong. That they don't even want to get in that game. They don't want to suit up for that one.
I wish we could document other people calling people old, right? So that when they get older.
Talk about it a lot. It's the last acceptable prejudice.
Yeah, you're so right. And I don't allow people to call me auntie, because that's a go-to, but it's funny to me. Auntie is what they call you when you're an older woman. When they're 19, they'll call you like auntie. They do that to Maxine.
So Mean Girl.
But it's true, right? But
that's what young girls do?
It's the Maxine Waters. Guys do it too. But I think it's interesting. Auntie, or they'll call you uncle. That's why Denzel Washington was like, don't call me uncle, I'm not your uncle.
Right.
But the thing is that these are the people who are upset about you not using pronouns. These are the people who are upset about, but yet they use these microaggressions to call you old.
Right.
And it's such hypocritical bullshit. And that's why
It is the last acceptable prejudice. And I've seen it. I saw it on my show recently. Somebody, and it was a terrible argument because, we were talking about whether, a guy wrote a book about focus. you know, the Americans have lost their focus. And he's a millennial, I think, like 40 or something. Uh, and, you know, it's things like phones and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook and, you know, the lack of sleep. But mostly it's the technology and what the
Right.
phones do. And I mean, this is what he's saying in the book, and I'm agreeing with him. And some other panelist was like, well, you know, when you get older, you know, sometimes you just like it the old ways. It's like, that's not what's going on here. It's not like I like the old ways. I understand what the phone is. I use the phone. I like my phone. But it is fucking up with people's minds and their attention
Absolutely.
span. It's not because, oh, I'm old and I'm not pining for the telegraph, you know?
No.
You know, and it was like, you know, wow, you couldn't get away with it. I couldn't say to her as a woman, like, well, you know, your argument, should we really listen to it because you're a woman and, you know, you bleed from the
Right.
crotch once a
Right.
month?
Right. Right. Oh
How
my
can we
God.
really depend on anything you're going to be saying
Oh my
now
God.
about this subject? I mean, really, we should just take whatever you're going to say with a grain of salt because you have the, you know, but with old, you can totally get away with it.
It's annoying.
It's a,
You're in better shape than a lot of the people who are
yes,
calling you old, right? You're
exactly.
healthy.
Yes.
And now I'm fat shaming, right? Because that's how that's what it trickles down
Oh,
to. Now, if
there's
I
no,
say you're healthy because you're
no.
lean, then I'm dissing the people who are overweight.
Well,
And it's
that's
just,
wrong. We have got to arrest that trend in America. I mean, we should not shame people, but we are at a place where we're not allowed to talk about the subject, and the subject is too relevant to health, both in
absolutely.
the COVID era, which and in general, even before that, and um, it's a little dangerous to
Absolutely.
be unable to talk about a major health factor, no matter what that factor is. And that's where that has gone. I mean, we've moved to a place where just in the last few years, at least like 5 years ago, losing weight was a goal.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad to say it was a goal.
Mm-hmm. Now you have an illness and you need to go to a 12-step
Well,
program.
no, it's like, why? It's just a different way to be.
Right.
And it is, but it's also science does not stop being science.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you unhealthy.
Yeah.
And unhealthy has ramifications throughout society, especially when there's something that is killing people.
Yeah. I think capitalism, right? We talk about all of the things that draw money and how they've weaponized all of the stuff because women are constantly worrying about their weight, but you also see men doing it too. I had an eating disorder when I was modeling. I got down to 117 pounds. I'm 5'10", and I was deadly. I looked like a walking skeleton. But the fear of getting big was controlled my life for so many years, and even at that time, I had really bad body dysmorphia, and I still thought that I was big. But it was because we're always talking about this stuff. But what we don't talk about is health. We talk about appearance. The goal should be to be healthy.
Right.
And there are some big people who are healthier than people who are thin. But
It's
we
pretty
just don't.
hard to do that.
Yeah,
It's
no, it
pretty
is.
hard to be healthier big than thin. Thin is for your body, what does the body mostly use energy on? Digestion.
Yeah.
Digestion. And when you give your body a break from that, or don't ask it to like constantly be just, you know, I mean, yes, I mean that's again, I'm not making this up to shame people. It's
Right.
just the science. And
Right.
it's you know, it's intuitive.
Right.
You know, when you do a fast. Have you ever done a fast?
Oh yeah, I do 4 times a year. I do a
Really? That's
20,
very good for you. For how long?
21 days. I do
21 days?
raw foods. Yeah, all raw foods for 21
Wow.
days.
Well, that's not exactly a fast, but it's a
But
kind of a
I mean,
fast.
I've done like a fast. I don't do more than 3 days because I'm
Right.
hypoglycemic. I can't go without
Okay.
eating
But even
anything.
that is a lot of discipline. But
Yeah.
that's so good for you.
Yeah, it is. It changed my life because I was unhealthy and I was thin and unhealthy, and I had bronchitis, and I had this
Oh
ugly
my.
breakout on my face. And I went to this herbalist. He gave me his herbs. I did a 21-day fast. I ate all raw fruits and vegetables. The breakout went away, and I've never had bronchitis again. And it really changed my life. It changed my health for the better. And I battle with this on a constant basis. LA makes it very hard. Everybody, there are people who are walking around here. I don't know how they're walking around. I see them on Instagram. They look like perfect. But in real life, they
Well,
probably
because
don't.
that's Instagram. Because Instagram is all about faking your life. And again, something, oh, you're old. So, but am I wrong that it's worse to be more concerned with your virtual life than your actual life?
Yeah.
That it's wrong to like want to look like you're having a good time than actually be having a good time?
Right.
No.
That's right. I feel you on that.
I could be 1,000 and that would be the correct assessment of that particular situation.
But I agree with you because I
But
was.
it's not how they live, kids.
But it's not just kids too, and there's a bunch of grown-ups. And think about it. Kim Kardashian is in her 40s, and she is the Instagram queen. So when you think about social media, it's just become.
Yeah.
One guy paid $400,000 to buy a house in the metaverse next to Snoop.
We are brought to you by SignalWire, the real OGs of software-defined telecom. Remember that horror movie where the babysitter thinks she's being prank called, but then the police trace the call and learn the calls are coming from the killer using a line inside the house? Talk about a sucky user experience. Well, if you're developing a product or app that features real-time communications like voice or video, SignalWire can help make sure your user experience doesn't turn into a horror show. Whether it's voice, messaging, or cutting-edge broadcast quality video, if it has to do with real-time communications, SignalWire has the APIs. With SignalWire, you can completely customize the user experience and integrate with an existing app or website with ease. SignalWire's ultra-low latency is essential for creating experiences where real-time really matters. It's like if your Wi-Fi took a Cialis. Whether you're a developer, product builder, or just someone with a cool idea, SignalWire offers APIs, SDKs, and even copy and paste code snippets to help you make your vision a reality fast. Get cutting-edge video, voice, and messaging from the original geeks of software-defined telecom. Visit signalwire.com/random to sign up for a free account. Go to signalwire.com/random and build what's next in real-time communications. Go to signalwire.com/random. Did you know there are currently over 2.4 million podcasts in the world, including the one you're listening to right now? There are so many people who work to make this podcast possible, and we're like family. There's my producer, hey buddy, and my sound engineer, what's up big guy? And most importantly, Chick who brings me weed. Needless to say, hiring the right people for these roles is important, and whether you're hiring for a podcast or for your growing business, there's only one place that makes it easy, ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/random. ZipRecruiter uses its powerful technology to find and match the right people with your job. You can easily review them and invite your top choices to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site based on G2 satisfaction ratings as of January 1st, 2022. So if you're a fan of this podcast and you want to try ZipRecruiter for free today, you need to remember our special URL, ziprecruiter.com/random. Once again, that's ziprecruiter.com/random. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Hey, I'm going to be at Madison Square Garden on November 12th at the Hulu Theater. Bring the kids. Not to the show itself. Please, leave them outside. But the show you're going to love as adults. When we were here the other night, I was like, boy, that girl's a tough crowd, but she's honest.
I'm not a tough crowd. I love to laugh. I enjoy.
No, but you're smart and you're in the business. So, like, when you get a laugh from you, it's a real laugh.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't like, you don't fake, you don't Jimmy Fallon me.
No. Oh,
and I love Jimmy. This is not but I mean, that's
it's
what
funny.
those shows are. That you have to like enjoy the fuck out of every guest, and I'm actually enjoying the fuck out of you. But
Same, ditto.
I know, but
What's funny? For a long time, my Puerto Rican ass didn't know the difference between Jimmy Fallon and Chris Kattan. I was like, and I did a show with Chris Kattan in New York.
Chris Kattan is not Jimmy Fallon in drag? Oh my God, you
I was
just
sitting,
rocked my world.
and he was doing his thing that he always does, Chris Kattan, and I was like,
No.
"Is you supposed to be working right now?" But it's funny.
Mongo, that character that was,
Yes. Were you
yeah.
mad at Jimmy Fallon when he did this to Donald Trump?
No, no. You can't get mad at Jimmy Fallon. It's not a political show. He's not a guy. I mean, he's a genius sketch player.
Mm-hmm.
I would just, when he gets into a character or does, I mean, there's nobody can touch him. And he's actually become a pretty good monologist, but I just want to see, like when I see somebody, I always think the secret of show business is it's so competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Do the thing that only you can do the best,
Right.
because otherwise somebody who is more natural at that will eat your lunch.
Absolutely.
Whereas do that one thing, you know, Jim Carrey, who's a fantastic dramatic actor actually, but people saw him as Ace Ventura and
Yeah.
like I always say, a great actor is one nobody else could do the part.
Right.
Jim has done roles where I'm like, yeah, I don't think anyone else actually could have done that. Lots of
Absolutely.
roles you look and go, oh yes, a lot of people could do that.
Nah, the Truman Show was him.
Yes, well,
I
yes,
loved
that
him.
too. But especially where that manic, one of my favorites of his is Cable Guy.
Oh yes.
That's,
Yes.
I feel like a
That was us. That was
genius
me.
movie. What do you mean you?
Watching TV, raised by the television.
Right.
Remember when HBO came along and cable, sitting there watching Fraggle Rock. Like
Fraggle.
that's us.
Well, that's you. That's not my generation.
Oh no.
And I never had kids.
You know what I was thinking about? The reason why I do comedy. I learned how to speak English watching television. And
Really?
yeah. You talk about Jim Carrey. I was thinking about him the other day because I love Jim Carrey. Love, love, love. Ace Ventura couldn't go on today.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That was the first one. Like, I don't think anyone else could do that
No,
part.
that was hilarious. But that movie today would be
Why were we
considered
talking
transphobic.
about that?
We were talking about doing the thing that
Oh,
you're
yes,
good
doing
at.
the thing that only you can do.
Right.
And, because I remember once Prince put out a jazz album, and he didn't like announce it as such, or at least I missed the announcement. And I bought this. This is back when it was stuff on CD. One of the last CDs I think I ever bought. And, it's like, okay, fine, but you got me. You got my $11.95 or whatever it was, and
That's the third time you made me laugh.
And fuck that, because like, I don't like jazz. This is not why I buy a Prince album.
Yeah, it's funny. You can't lick yourself to a jazz record that Prince is singing. I need a metaphor. I love Prince, but I don't want to hear Prince singing.
Exactly. So when I was doing Politically Incorrect, he became a big fan. Later on, as it became more apparent that I was disdainful of religion, I think that became a bridge too far. But he once, Politically Incorrect was on, just a few years, and I remember he went on The Tonight Show and talked about it. And I was like, it was such a feather in my cap.
Nice.
That Prince likes my show.
Right.
And somebody who worked for him said, he would sometimes, he'd go out after the show, I don't know if this is true, but, and would go to the strip club and bring 4 strippers back to the room, and they would think it was going to be a great orgy, and then he would just sit there and play Politically Incorrect with them.
Wow, and that's funny.
And and a lot of it, led to, he was a proselytizer for, was it Jehovah's Witness or?
Yeah, I think he was.
He was very, very serious.
A lot of the big families, in the entertainment business.
But or what?
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
the Jacksons, were they?
I believe the Jacksons, the Wayans.
Wow.
I like Prince. I like sex Prince, though.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, when you think about the dichotomy there in his mind.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it's this Dionysian figure who is all libido and super sexy and always thinking about sex and writing about sex. And
yeah.
I mean, just oozing sex, even in his diminutive state. I mean, you could like, you've seen him in person, like
Yes.
he was a diminutive man. And then to also be like super Christian, which is very anti-sex, has
Yeah.
got to create kind of a...
I'm familiar. Yeah.
And because?
My family, well, I was born into Catholicism, and then
Me too.
they converted to, they became Pentecostal.
Oh, fuck.
And that was really scary for me as a
Oh,
child.
God.
And then my grandmother
So what do they do?
So
Are they like
they
snake
speak in
handling?
tongues, and
Tongues.
yeah. The church, best music, very good music. But then my grandmother became a Seventh-day Adventist.
Oh,
And those are, well, they're the closest to Jews, right? Because
really?
they keep the Sabbath.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't eat pork. Fridays, the lights go out, everything goes out. But
No.
no Saturday cartoons for your girl.
You lived through this?
Yes, and I couldn't wear pants, no makeup, no jewelry. It was extreme for me.
Oh my God.
So then to become like, sometimes when I'm doing stand up and people who I know who are religious come to the shows, I can't look at them. I avoid looking at them because I know that they don't want. I can't be myself because they don't think a woman should be cursing, a woman should be doing stand up, a woman should be,
Why are they out?
because everybody wants to laugh. But now they want you to make them laugh without making them uncomfortable.
So funny. I just got this offer
Mm-hmm.
for a bunch of money
Mm-hmm.
to perform at some private company. I'm sure you know.
Yeah, the corporate.
Like what? Corporate gigs.
Right.
Have you done them?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm sure I haven't gotten as an exorbitant amount of money as I heard tonight. But I've gotten, some better money than a regular
Well, I
company.
don't do them.
Oh, you
Even
don't?
though the money, I mean, and like, I don't think people know this because they're always closed and they're private, but like everybody does them. I mean, up until some years ago, I don't know how many, but I know Beyonce,
Yeah.
would get like $1 million a song. Like
Wow.
you sing 3 songs with $1 million or whatever. And I'm sure she doesn't need that anymore. Why give up a day? But yes, no one was out of reach. I mean, this has gone on forever. Microsoft I remember doing some for them way back, and when I was like, oh my God, they're gonna pay that. I was like, fuck, I'll do whatever they want. But fuck them. So, and they're always horrible because it's corporate.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not
they
my
are.
fans.
Yeah, they're terrible.
I need the people who understand me already.
Yeah, I feel you.
Right?
I've done
Okay.
them.
So this is a corporation, and maybe some people are fans, and some people are like, who the fuck is this? And some people are like, I don't like this guy at all. It's like, I don't want to. So it's like, well, it's a lot of money. It's like close. I could drive to it. It was like, and there was something like, but something we want you to be, not clean, but they say PG, there's something like that. I was like, well, fuck no. And then I was like, so I turned down, of course, no, the strongest word in show business. When they say no, then we got to have this guy now. He's too good for this money. It's like,
oh, wow.
It's like, no, I don't want to like play your PG game. So they send back a thing, well, we really want you, but just don't make people uncomfortable.
Impossible, right?
And then they write, last year, Wanda Sykes.
Oh, I know. She.
And I'm like, you know what? If Wanda Sykes upset you, first off, fucking good.
Yeah.
And 2, then you're really gonna hate me.
Those are the worst. I did one in Miami, and they said, don't talk about race. You can't talk about sexual orientation. They were like,
your whole act.
Yeah, everything. And then I did everything that they told me not to do. And I got a standing ovation because those people are repressed.
Right.
Because they're scared to laugh because they don't want people in the workplace to know who they really are. Right. That's really what that's
true.
about. And it's just annoying. It's like, but you get a little alcohol in them, and then they want to hear, they like dirty, they love blue.
Of course.
Yeah, and I'm not that kind of comic.
No.
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 So it's
cerebral.
really.
So this is interesting to me that you model into comedy? That's interesting.
I modeled more into writing and and acting, and then I became a comic. But I've always wanted to do stand-up. Like I said, I used to watch.
Seems like you're so natural fit. I mean,
thank you. I love it. That's a great compliment.
Surprised you came to it that late.
I know. Well, it was religion, being
Right. It gives you a lot of material.
and the sexism of, my mom used to tell me, nobody's gonna want to marry you. They don't want to marry a goofy, funny girl. Like, and now
that is such an old way of looking at it. Yes.
Yeah, what man is gonna want to be in a room with a woman that sucks up the air? And I'm like, but I'm listening to this woman like that's on her third husband give me advice about. I was just like, why am I listening to her?
No, I'm
but
sure.
it was they don't and then when it started working out, it became something different. But it was just, why are you doing that? Like, is that do you
I'm
want?
sure you have never had any problem with suitors.
I mean, not
right?
Yeah, but
No.
I mean, no.
Yeah, there's
We're just looking for the good ones at this point.
Get with you.
But not now with comedy. Sometimes it takes a specific type of guy.
Oh.
Sherry Shepherd and I were talking about. They have to be secure, like insecure men.
But like doing comedy, like it's terrible, but it's sort of apropos of what I'm saying. Is I remember this comic when I first started. It was older than me, doing better, and he had been like an engineer or something, right? And then he went into comedy like in his 30s. He was telling me his theory of why he was a real hound,
Oh yeah.
So he was telling me his theory of why this was great. He said, "Okay, say you work in an office. There's 8 chicks there. Like 2 of them are married and 2 of them already hate you. And, so like what are you gonna do? But if you're a comedian, you meet like 500 new people every night. And it's like, yeah. I mean, look at all the guys who see you every night, or when you work. I mean, that guy is that type you're talking about who like, oh, I mean, I've seen guys go nuts over Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, she's hot.
There's like, but also she's funny.
She is.
That's not a bad point to lots of guys. Like, yeah, I want the woman to take the limelight away from me, and you be the the one who we go into the party as the.
That's the secure man, though.
Or just shy. But yes, secure, but...
How many times have you dated somebody who offered you a joke, offered to write you a joke or a punchline?
Offered or just I stole it?
No, no, because that's one thing my friends and I who are comedians always talk about. The guy's like, I got a joke for you. And I'm like, all the time.
But I mean, what a joy it is to ever be in the company of a woman, but if you're dating them and you find them beautiful, who is also funny. And yes, I have stolen jokes from girlfriends, absolutely. Not that they were telling me a joke, they just observed something funny and I went,
but that's not stealing a joke.
Well, it's not my thought. So in that sense, it is purloined. But I would always like make a joke of that. I'd be like, oh, honey, that's so brilliant. It's sometimes I just get, it's like I hear a voice and it sounds a lot like yours.
Oh, wow, that's funny. That's different though. But you know what? That's a compliment, right?
It is.
That woman's never going to go on stage.
Right. I remember once somebody bitching me about it and I was like, you should be honored I'm going to do your job. Oh. I got my back up about it,
She got mad?
No, she was just...
She wanted to get paid for the joke?
I think she was mad at something else.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
People in relationships, there's got to be a better way. I mean, I don't know. This is the most personal subject in the world, and I've never been married. I never had kids, so like I can't really speak on an expert level on those areas. And
your skin looks amazing, so it worked out for you.
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah, but for me, again, I know so many people who live for their kids, everything, and I'm talking about guys. I know lots of guys who are, over the years, I've known hounds. Yeah. But they love being a dad. Yeah. Like they could not cheat on their wife, and they were always out there. But boy, did they take the dad part seriously and love it and do it well. That's a dichotomy that's in men.
But that's why I think that progress is necessary and important because I love the reality that we live in now where you can opt to be a parent and not be married and not be shunned. You know, like where I come from, you know, I had women who all were teenage pregnancy cases that who were not married and had children tell me that I had to get married a virgin. And I was like,
Virgin.
yeah, I was like, what if it was not good? And that was something
Right.
you couldn't say because now I'm stuck with this dude. Like, how long?
Yes, that the ultimate buyer's remorse there.
Yeah. How long is
Right.
the penance? Like,
Right.
how much
How
do I have
long
to?
is the penis?
No.
That's what the question you want to know before you get in there.
Yeah.
Right? I
Don't you
mean,
steal my joke. I'm
what?
stealing that.
What? Whose joke?
It's a callback to you
Oh, I see.
stealing your girlfriend's jokes.
Oh, I see.
But
So, but you have kids.
I do.
How
And
old are
I
they?
love my kids. My son is 27
27.
and
You have a 27-year-old?
and a 25-year-old.
Oh, you're a MILF.
I am a MILF. But you know, it's funny.
Are you a cougar and a MILF?
Nah, I'm not a cougar.
Yeah.
And I was a young mom. My son went to one of
You
these
must have been.
private prep schools. And it was weird when he played football because I would sit in the stands and no one would sit next to me. All the women would look at me because they were all significantly older than me. And I would just sit there by myself because people were like, I'm not sitting with that young bitch. She's not going to fuck my husband. The only person who befriended me was Corbin Benson's wife.
Who's that?
She's Australian. I forgot her name.
Corbin Benson.
Yeah, Corbin Benson was on one of those procedural shows. I forgot his name.
Oh,
Yes.
L.A. Law.
L.A. Law, yes.
Burnson, I think.
And his wife was this Australian woman.
No, he was hot for a minute.
Yes, she was beautiful. She was bold and fearless, and she'd be on the sidelines. You can't do this anymore. She would be like, "Stop being a pussy and run!" And I was like, "Oh shit, this lady is from the hood." Like used to go sit by her. All the other parents would just look at her and they would scoff. But I loved her because she was authentic.
Right.
Everybody else was just, you know, the phony shit. And it was just interesting being a mom. In LA, being a mom feels like.
So your kids are millennials? Or
Yeah.
like young millennials.
They're young millennials.
They're at the end of the generation.
Yeah.
And from everything I remember from talking to you the first time, you must be trying at least to slap the snot out of them about all their bullshit wokeness that you seem to always have in my view, the smart, correct, we're living in reality take on.
Well, my kids have the blessing of having a mother that grew up in the ghetto. So in the hood, if you will. So they have the best of both worlds because there's a level of progress of things that they have learned because of my evolution. But there are some things that I am not willing to part with that I grew up with from the people who are from the old world that gave me, they gave me a code. And I'll never release that. I'm always going to be loyal to that because I think that being well-rounded is how I've survived. Like my grandmother used to tell me, my mom used to tell me, dick and alcohol ages you. Proceed accordingly. Right? You couldn't say that now. Dick and alcohol. In Spanish, it sounds even worse.
Why does dick age you?
But they were just saying, keep your numbers low. Oh. And, some people would be like, oh, that's slut shaming. That's patriarchy. Right. Whatever it was, I took heed because I didn't want to look like an old bitch. And and I'm not an alcoholic.
But
this is
don't
progressive.
You think it's in most women's nature just to not have a lot of dicks?
Nah, I know some hoes.
Oh, well, there's that too.
Nah, you know what?
Really?
I think socially though, I mean, I think that this is a different time.
Tiny girls never liked me. I wish they had, but that was never, so.
They wanted to marry the guy with the corporate gigs.
Oh. That took me a second. I'm like, why is she bringing up corporate?
They were willing to give you a joke or two.
That's a good call.
For security.
That's a good call. Yeah.
But it's funny that I know women who are liberated. They have a lot of the way that
Of course.
they see men is just very differently than
But it's still an invasion.
Yeah.
It's still different to like have the thing that goes in versus to have to like, to cross that divide of, oh, I'm going to invite you in my body.
Yeah.
That to me is like, that's a divide. I think it's still psychologically a divide that's easier for a man to cross than a woman.
Yeah, you can't say that anymore. And you know what I think is, you can't say
What
it
I
anymore.
just said, you can't say
it anymore, right?
Why?
Well, I think that a lot of us are in denial about science and the reality of what it is. It's interesting, like you can't slut shame. But if a woman says she wants to be a virgin until she gets married, there's someone always trying to tell her that she's backwards, that she's wrong, like that's patriarchy.
Right.
You can be pro-choice, but you meet somebody that's pro-life who believes that they're going to go to hell if they have an abortion, and you just can't leave them alone. And I've seen it. I've seen it because I believe in a woman having the choice to choose. But I also believe in leaving other people the fuck alone and minding my business.
Well, I'm going to, because I would never illegal spritz you.
Okay.
You know what I mean by that? Like when a comic does a joke from his act.
No, do it.
But I'm announcing it.
I appreciate that.
Because I'm telling you, I would never try to, we used to call it an illegal spritz.
Right.
When you do that. It's one thing to like get a joke that starts in conversation and then put it in your act.
But
you can't do a joke from your act and then play it off like, you can on the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
But you can't with each other.
Right.
But this is just too apropos. So
you heard that?
Yes.
OS. OS. You hearing this?
There's a bit in my act about, like, I have seen a few times in a restaurant, a person go up to a woman who's pregnant, who's having a glass of wine at dinner, and scold them, which I really have no patience for, that kind of busybodying. And my thing is that I'm sure the person who's doing the scolding was pro-choice, and I'm pro-choice. But, it is definitely becoming a human. I don't think a fetus is a human, but it's becoming a human. So what? It's okay to kill it, but not get it a little drunk.
Oh, wow. Yo, this is a level
But kind of true, right?
That's a level of fearlessness that I want to have in my comedy. That's
you
where
do already.
No. I want to go further. Like I hold back sometimes.
You'll all go. Of course, we're always going further, all of us. But you're plenty there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But that's really, it's just, like I said, nuance is gone. We can't have like those conversations about, you have to be able to. We can.
And you do.
And we will.
You should not be selling yourself short at this point. You're doing great. You're very hot in the industry. I feel like I just went to Hawaii, my annual Hawaii trip. Nikki Glazer, I always take two comics. She was there. I feel like I'm becoming, and I love it. If I can be any kind of mentor to the, you're the next generation, she's the next generation. Yeah. It's like, I never had kids, but I do have a little bit of a paternal bone in my body that's like, that I could like, I don't know, do anything because, trust me, I wouldn't want to sit down and talk to you for a fucking hour if I didn't think you were a big talent.
Well, I
take that. I receive it.
I love Nikki Glazer too.
Yes, she's a fucking big talent too.
Yeah.
And as I said to Martin Short recently, the younger comics, what can we do to stop help them?
Oh, Martin Short. Oh my God, he was so good in The Only Murders in the Building.
And everything.
Oh, but yeah, you know what? He was in Law and Order SVU. He was on a 2-episode, yes. And he was a killer. He killed a nun, a black nun.
Was it a no comic part, just straight drama?
It was dark. It was all drama. He was so good, and he's such a good actor. But in Only Murders, so funny.
Yeah, no, he stole the whole show.
Yeah.
It was a really great show. I had the two of them on Real Time slugging it, and I mentioned to them that I swear I wasn't stoned, but I'm such a huge fan of Selena Gomez and her song "Love You Like Love You Like a Love Song, Baby." You know that song.
I love that song too.
I was under the mistaken impression it was only like 2 years old, and then I found out it's 10 years old.
Yeah, she's a whole grown up now.
Yeah, I did not realize that. But like, I'm always looking for new music that I like, and there's very little of it that I think comes up to the standards of the best stuff that I already have. But when you put out one like that, it's like, yes, I would say that record could have been a hit in any decade.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for.
Listen, and as long as Taylor Swift keeps dating, she will always be number one. Because every album is about a failed relationship, and we want to keep them coming. Spotify is on.
So what do you do, speaking of that, for Valentine's Day? Like, are you...
I'm going to dinner.
Are you...
I'm doing the Kelly Clarkson show.
As a couple? A dinner?
I'm going on a date, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'm going, I'm doing the Kelly Clarkson show.
But you don't expect a ring or something?
No, I don't expect anything. I'm good with some lobster. Like, I'm all right with some lobster. Like, come on, man. Like, I think it's cool to go. I was invited. So I was like, I'm going to go to dinner. But I don't have expectations. Like, I don't know. I just think I've never been like that. I've always been thankful for just people appreciating me. My grandmother used to always tell me, she was very important in my life, nobody has to do anything for you. So everything anyone does for you is always an added plus. And so that is always bled into everything that I do.
How old is this guy you're going out with then?
He is 55. He's a grown. I'm not into like younger men because I have one at home. I mean, well, he's not at home anymore.
Well, but like the maturity level of men and women is not on a par.
Yeah.
I mean, men just take way much longer time to mature. Women need someone who has at least a 10-year head start.
Yeah.
On maturity. Yeah. To even have a prayer. So
I had this football player who was like in his 20s, like maybe 29, 30, and he kept sending me these messages on Instagram, and I was like, I'm not interested in, I just said I'm not interested. He was like, I hope it's not because of my age, because I'm a grown ass man and I make my own money. And I'm like, that is the indicator that you are not a grown-ass man. Because I used to work at Anna's Fried Dough when I was 14, and I used to make my own money, and I was not an adult.
Right. But if you're bragging about that fact.
It was so weird. I blocked him. I was like, why did he block? Like, I already had my football player.
I must say, things like blocking, I find, I don't know, that phone, again, I guess it makes me feel old, but I'm sorry, but there are just so many things about it that make people into worse human beings.
Yes.
Oh, see?
I agree with you.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's like, it makes you passive-aggressive, right? Anonymous, so you can be more of a dick.
Yes.
The shitty side of people, it enables them.
It's
shitty side of you enabling technology.
No, I agree with you. And it's funny.
They're going to use that phrase because it would not be good.
We should market it, though. Hey, Club Random.
Right.
Come get your truth. I think you're absolutely right. My daughter went into my phone and used the Focus app. I can only be on social media 1 hour out of the day. It locks me out. And she has the password. Yeah, the roles have reversed.
The daughter did that to the mother.
Yeah, because I only use social media for work stuff.
Right.
But it's just so toxic that it was messing with my head. I told her, I said, it makes you feel old, fat, ugly, unaccomplished, dumb.
It's just because you're reading mean things that are said about you on Twitter or something?
It's just all of it. It's
Why would you do that?
No, it's just toxic. Not that. It's just like...
What specifically made you feel this list of
just going on there and like you said, everybody's on social media trying to always show that they're living their best life, and then
Right.
you see a comedian and you're like, oh my God, look at this person, they're doing all of this and I'm not doing enough. And it's all lies. Everybody's putting out,
Right.
the best of, but you don't
Right.
think about it. But if you
So,
constantly, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality,
right.
so you have to be able to turn it off. And so my daughter was like, enough of this. Like, tell your agent to go post on Instagram. Like, this is too much. And it's been so much healthier for me. I've been so much more productive because I only have 1 hour on social media a day. And I've been writing, scripts, because I also write on stage like you. I don't sit down with the flow pad to show people that I'm writing jokes at the back of the
Oh, I didn't say
line.
I write on stage. I said I write here.
Well, here, wherever it is, I mean, that's how I write. Like
Yeah.
for me,
No, on stage too. I mean, but
yeah.
you
Yeah,
got you got to
but
start.
I'm not sitting around. You know how the
No,
comics
right.
are with the notebook and they want you to.
Oh, let me tell you, when I started, it was like that was the de rigueur thing. We all had to like, yes, start the day. And just start writing. This was like the template that we all. And you know who told the comics this? Bill Cosby.
Oh, wow.
Like Bill Cosby was like the guru. Some of the comics would like visit him at his, and learn the great man's
Mm-hmm.
comedy, and that was it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you get a yellow pad and you write, and even if it's bad, you just keep going until something comes out. It's like I tried it, and it's I can't do this. It's so
Yeah.
much better to just get fucked up,
And get
and
it.
and just bullshit, and something will come up, or
That's because you're smart, though, and you can get it.
I
But some
mean,
of
no,
these,
guys do that who I respect greatly, who they do the yellow pad method, but it's just not for me. It's
or
like
the
it's like
the
marriage,
the fishbowl. Remember, that's what Dave Chappelle does. The fishbowl. But what you
What
don't
is that?
understand.
What is the
He
fishbowl?
says he puts like different topics in the fishbowl. Then he pulls it out, and then he just writes a random joke about it.
At
And
home he does this?
no, that he did it on stage. That was when, in I think it was Equanimity. Or no, Sticks and Stones, when he did the joke, and then I kicked her in the pussy. That was what he pulled out of the bowl, and he said he had to write a joke around that phrase, "kick her in the pussy,"
Oh,
and
oh.
then he did
Oh,
it
so
at
he's
the.
working backwards.
Yeah, he did
Boy,
it.
he's really it's quite a strict there.
I
The
know.
great Chappelle will
Uh-huh.
deconstruct a joke backwards.
Yeah,
Is
but
that
I
is
was
that
gonna say about Bill Cosby is that I have a friend who's an actor, and she was telling me that he used to curse like a sailor, and it was interesting that he would, try to shun Eddie Murphy and criticize Richard Pryor for cursing. She
right?
said she hosted a show, and he called her, and every word that came out of his mouth was "motherfucker, fuck, bitch, bitch, bitch," and I was like, that's because that's who he is. Like,
But have you been watching the
I haven't started yet.
Okay, well, I've seen 2 episodes of it's a terrific
Come on.
documentary. What we need to talk about Cosby, and of course, this is something that people are always talking about these days. How do you separate the artist from the person? Well, I don't have that problem with Bill Cosby. He never made me laugh. I never thought he was funny.
Mm,
But watching this documentary, I'm reminded, and sometimes just learn for the first time what a major motherfucker he was as a groundbreaker, like
mhm,
way back when.
mhm.
He educational stuff and new roles for black people in movies and television. Like he sort of has a reputation of, oh, I just talk about the family stuff, and no, he was a bad man.
Yeah,
Uh, and, you know, the sad part is at the same time being a very, in other
bad man.
sense of the word,
Yeah,
bad man
yeah.
with women. I mean, that started early on. But, you can't take that part of him away.
I
He
mean,
was a huge pioneer, groundbreaker, and did it great.
he was. I also feel like, I thought that wasn't my brand of humor because I loved Richard Pryor as a kid. Like I always,
He made me
he
laugh.
made me. I
Bill
mean,
Cosby never made me laugh.
no, like I used to laugh at Bill Cosby on the Cosby Show, but I never thought that
No,
stuff used to was so annoying to me. But I remembered listening to Richard Pryor do a joke about his dog getting high, and I was a little kid and just cackling, not even knowing what he was really talking about. always was somebody that I really loved. But I was going to tell you that my daughter, who is 25, and I were having a conversation, and she said to me, I mean, when we talk about this art versus, bad behavior stuff, she's like, isn't the punishment for sexual assault jail and not cancellation? And I was like, you have a point, young butterfly, because she was like,
well, and he went to jail.
And because she was saying, we have been watching art that has been created by problematic people forever.
Ever.
She's like, some of the
artists are problematic people.
Because they're complicated people.
I mean,
right?
They're not all rapists and stuff like that, but they're very complicated, and they very often have a side to them that's a huge asshole.
And yes.
And you can't. If you got rid of every movie and music in your library, there would be too little left. And, we're humans. We have the ability to have two thoughts in our head at the same time. I can separate the thing. There's no music that I wouldn't listen to because the guy was an asshole. R. Kelly, I will play right now if I fucking feel like it and wherever I feel like it.
I believe I Can Fly
is a classic. The music did not rape anybody. And... Michael Jackson, I can't watch a Woody Allen movie. I don't think he even did it. But, all these people. Mm-hmm. Marilyn Manson, I don't really listen to him anyway.
Oh, Marilyn Manson. But it's funny. I was always creeped out by Marilyn Manson.
Yes, it wasn't like he wasn't a creepy guy to begin with.
I wasn't like when I heard about
it. What a leap.
Yeah.
It was like they act like, he was Mitt Romney. And then we were finding out he's carving his initials in girls' thighs and raping them on camera. Mitt. No, he was practically that to begin with. He did what Trump did. He committed his crimes in plain sight.
Absolutely. I love that. That's the truth. Donald Trump never, ever hid who he was.
It's kind of gangster.
But I'll tell you this. The other day, I was like, damn, I miss Donald Trump because I am so tired about hearing about the Kardashians. Remember when Donald Trump was president? You never heard about the Kardashians.
Really?
No, he trended. Donald Trump will wake up offending people.
Right.
They'd be like, President Trump, what do you feel about Chinese children?
Right.
Fuck Chinese children. Chinese children are stupid. Boom, tweet. It would be trend.
That indicates to me how you get your news. By what's trending.
Well, no, I get my news by the newspaper.
He knocked the Kardashians off the trend.
Oh, well, I study that because I write jokes about it. But he used to trend every day. I had a joke about it, and I was like, every single day you wake up, he knew because he picked up on it. He's a reality
and you're
star.
Saying that it knocked the Kardashians off.
You never heard about them. They were gone. As soon as Donald Trump was out of there, and I believe Kris Jenner got rid of him. I think she's behind it.
Shark attacks. Did that go up also when Trump left office?
Yes.
So you're saying that the stupid, trivial things that we obsess about when we have a normal president made a resurgence.
Yes.
After the mental patient stopped monopolizing.
Saw the door.
That's interesting.
It's the truth. It's like...
No, I get it.
But now you've been trending every week. Every week.
Oh, no. Anyway.
Yeah, but when Donald Trump was here, you were trending all the time, too, because...
Really?
Yeah, because you say things that people... I don't understand sometimes...
People.
Yeah, I don't get it sometimes. People don't make me mad, like... I see some people get upset. I have some friends, they're like, oh my God, can you believe what such and such said? And I'm like, yeah.
Exactly.
What shocked you? Oh, or somebody said, racism. Every week we are listening to how somebody was racist. I don't want to watch that anymore. I'm like, no shit. Really? Right. The man with the Confederate flag hanging out of his car, riding around in a pickup truck with cussing people out the window, just said something that was inappropriate. Like, why do you not consider the source? And I don't want to hear that anymore. I'm tired of it. What are we doing? What are we going to do?
Yeah. I hope it's a dwindling number of people who want to keep dwelling on, stuff that doesn't change their lives.
Yeah, because you know what?
If it changes your life, I'm all with you.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I know you are. Yeah, I'm telling you.
You look at these people, the more things change, the more they stay the same. You see all of this diversity push, you see all of these initiatives, diversity and inclusion, and then the pendulum swung back, and now you see a picture of the groundlings and everybody's white, and people are outraged again because such and such wasn't nominated by an Oscar. And I'm like, because you are focusing on bullshit and not policy,
Right.
not laws,
No.
not getting rid of your senator that's trash. You want to trend, you just want to talk on Twitter because you're bored, you don't have anything to say, or you're trying to sell something.
See, this is my girl.
Oh.
That's
trying to sell something, right?
No. All right, I got to go back to my real job.
This has been fun.
Yes. Let's make
Congratulations
make it a habit.
on having your podcast.
you know, TV is still a thing. HBO is like on a level. This is my fucking basement. Like, I never confuse that.
Well, I mean, I think people are going to fall in love with you, and then the people who love to hate you will continue to.
Fall in love is a strong.
Nah, I'm telling you.
Really?
The podcast community is different.